Oh gosh. Yeah. Hi everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for an album review. Oblivionized Abhorrent Revolution. Evolution. These guys are a band from the UK. 5-piece, new, debut, EP, self-produced, 17 minutes, and from the looks of the cover here, I'm sure you can guess you're in for something pretty grim and extreme. This thing initially was released in the UK, but just recently, from what I understand, it is now out in North America. So I figured that would make it worth a review. And also, for some reason, there's just been, this slowly growing demonic voice inside of me screaming, "More metal!" Sometimes that voice gives me indigestion. So these guys are a death metal band. Now you guys know I usually like my death metal really filthy and grimy and blood-soaked. I usually tend to stray away from the really produced stuff that sounds like plastic to me. But Oblivionized does a great job of not sacrificing any of their ugliness for the sake of getting flashier musicianship in here. It's impressive and offensive. Kind of like watching Evil Dead 2 for the first time. It's, oh, I never knew you could have that much fake blood spraying in every direction all at once. Listening to this thing is a little bit like getting dragged into a pit of mud by a family of alligators and then being torn to shreds as you suffocate on wet dirt and rocks and little bugs. I'm not doing a good job of making this sound appealing, am I? What do you think?
Delicious.
Alright, I just applaud Oblivionized because they just had that really dark, grimy lens focused on them, and still they use their technical ability to create a golf ball sized hailstorm of relentless drums, guitars, bass, and vocals. But the recording is also clear enough to the point where I can make out exactly what every single person in this band is doing. Sometimes the bass is a little hidden back there, but whenever a bass solo pops out, it's right there in the forefront. I hear every grinding check note that it's pumping out. But I don't think this EP would be as standout, would be as memorable if it didn't have these accessible points to these 4 songs as well. Like the third track on here, the opening riff is really slow and doomy and easy to get into, and at the halfway point to the song, these guitar leads pop in that are really melodic. But as much as I would love to get you guys into what I'm listening to on this thing, I can't lie about it. There's not much about Abhorrent Evolution that is easy on the ears. But that's what makes it so memorable. The riffs are really pummeling. The changes are just dizzying, neck-breaking, hard to digest all at once. The death growls, they are rough. They are coarse sandpaper rough. And the vocals on this thing, sometimes they double up with a higher pitched scream as well. It gets kind of suffocating. I just think it's great how tight these guys are and how natural they've been able to get that tightness to sound. And I think with this EP they've made something that leaves me wanting more, yeah, but once their album comes out, and if it is good and I do like it, I could still see myself returning to this. On the downside, this EP does sound like these guys are really sort of in a kind of fetal stage right now because they're yet to hammer out a completely definitive style for themselves, but it doesn't take away from its intensity, its memorability, its potency. I'm feeling a light to decent 8 on this. Thought it was really good. Maybe a little migraine inducing after all the times I listened to it for this review, but what do you think of it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? And why? And what should I be and maybe are reviewing next? Anthony Fantano, Oblivionized, forever.